If you have struggled to make it money in Driveaway, or if you're losing money, or you're thinking about getting in Driveaway and you hear there's no money in it, this video may help you out. These are the top 5 reasons I see why people fail. So I was hoping to make this video outside while I was hooking up. Obviously wind is howling, that's not going to work. Then I was hoping to make it while I was driving, and this last truck I had, the seat wouldn't air up, so I was sitting on basically the floor. I said, well, that's not going to work either. So anyway, we're doing it on the way home. I'm deadheading again, home again from Chicago, because there's really nothing up here that I want to take. One of the reasons people fail at this, they don't do their homework. I cannot believe still to this day and age, with all the information that's out there, how many people take a run to someplace out in the middle of sticks, and then you see them on Facebook going, how do I get out of here? Okay, that question should have been answered before you took the run. You should have at least 2 different ways to get out of each spot, preferably 3. And I would tell you that many times those things will fail. I've told you the story before, my first no-tow drive-away. You okay? Yeah. It was to upstate Wisconsin. And before I left, I booked me a rental car from Enterprise. Did it knock you off? No, you're still there. And then I looked and I saw that Rome de Rio had because from there I needed to go down to Janesville. Now I seen Rome de Rio showed a bus from that town I was in, Wisconsin Rapids, down to Janesville. Okay, that should have been good enough, right? If for some reason the rental fails, and rental never fails, right? I would get out of there. Well, I got down there, and as it turns out, Stevens Point is about 25 miles away from Wisconsin Rapids. I couldn't find, and even though Uber and Lyft showed drivers in the area when I originally booked that load, when it came time to get drivers out, there was none. As it turns out, most of them drive for the taxi companies and drive for Uber and Lyft after they get off their ships. It was the afternoon, and one taxi service that was a one-man show, he'd hurt himself, he wasn't driving taxi. The other one said, well, we don't have all of our drivers out taking people to work and picking them up from school. We can't take you over to Stevens Point. Well, great. So I called the rental car company, Enterprise, and they said, well, we'll hold it till 6 p.m. I said, well, how about in the morning? Oh, we have none available in the morning. You have it till 6 tonight, but first thing in the morning you have none? Yep. How about more afternoon? Nope, we don't. We have no one-way rentals available after today. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying now. Why didn't you say that up front? Yeah, you crooks. So I said, that's okay. So I got one of the taxi service. They would take me to a motel. So that's what, talking to the driver, that's how I knew that most of the people in that town who drove for Lyft and Uber drive for the taxi service or DoorDash and only do Uber and Lyft on the side when there's nothing else. Smokey Bear. It's a county mountie. So, I got to the motel room at night, called up the bus line to book that bus trip down to Janesville. She goes, "Oh, honey, I'm sorry. The state has taken that route from us 3 months ago. We have no bus service from Wisconsin Rapids to Janesville no more." Oh, crap. So I struggled to find a way out of there. I finally had to take a U-Haul. So I know about things, but some of y'all ask way too often how to get out of places. And I think you just take the runs because there's money to it. You don't think about how I'm going to get out of there. Or you look at a city and go, wow, there's 20,000 people in that city. There'll be plenty of Ubers and Lyfts and taxis. You'd be surprised how many cities that size have no service. So you don't do your homework. And when you don't do your homework, it costs you money. Dave Ramsey calls it stupid tax. Okay? You got to pay stupid tax. What he says. Not trying to offend nobody, but that's pretty accurate. I want to have at least 2 to 3 ways out of a place before I go there. Luckily, I have a tow card, so I don't need that no more. And I still do take every year 1 or 2 no-tow runs just to stay in practice. Just say I did them. So that's the first one. You don't do your research, you end up, and it costs you, because Uber, if you do find an Uber out there, some of them are $2 a mile. That might not sound bad until you realize you're 100 miles. What do we got going on here? I don't know what that was. They got everything unloaded. A company paid me to move some buses for them, and I wasn't going to move them because there was no, I mean, it was only 100 miles, but nobody, you couldn't hook to those buses. They were rear engine buses. They were for the government. So eventually we found a taxi service that would run me back to the pickup point and get both buses. And it cost the company $2 a mile, $200 a trip. And I'm thinking, there's people in Driveaway do this all the time that end up paying money like that to get out of a place. Probably the leading reason I see most of y'all fail, or the reason you will fail, is because you cannot manage your expenses. You should approach this like any other business. You should have money set aside before you enter this business. But y'all go out here and, especially, again, no-tow people. This is why they have to take runs, try to find runs thousands of miles across the country, because their expenses are so much higher than somebody with a tow car. They'll say, oh, we make just as much money as people with tow car. You may do it, but you work harder and longer doing it than we do. That's just a fact of life. But you don't manage your expenses. You go out here and you want to eat 3 meals a day at a restaurant, Cracker Barrel or something like that. That can be as much as $60 a day right there. Then you want to stay in a Holiday Inn Express. That's another $100 to $150. And then you wonder why you don't, times that times a week, then you wonder why you don't make no money. Or some of y'all, you never pass a casino that you don't like. And if that's your thing, that's okay. I talked to one lady, she goes, I'm retired, I get a retirement. She goes, I only do this so it pays for my travel to places I want to go. That's cool. Okay, I get it. She goes, I don't make no money doing this because I spend all the money at nice places to eat or nice motels and stuff. She goes, I do this just to travel. Well, that's well and fine. But if you're out here to make money for your family and for yourself as like a sole income, then you got to approach it like a business. You got to limit those expenses. As Dave Ramsey says,
live like no one else so later you can live like no one else.
and that's true. I don't eat out a lot when I'm out here. Some people, they gotta, like I said, they gotta eat 3 meals a day at Cracker Barrel or some other restaurant. I mean, last night I had canned chicken and sardines with crackers. I was at a rest area. I wasn't gonna go stop at a truck stop. Little man, he had the same thing. He's not crazy about sardines, but he will eat them. And he does like his chicken. Okay, that was probably a $5 meal right there. And the bottled water. No, that canned chicken's about 3 something. So that's probably about $6 or $7 meal. But if you can't control, and again, if you don't have a tow car, take all your food and stuff like that, it's going to be hard to, you know, there again, your expenses are going to be more. Y'all use your advance to live off of. The advance is not to live off of. The advance is get that unit to where it's going. Your pay after you do that, everything you got left over is your pay. But these companies give you an advance to get that unit to where it's supposed to go. Not for you to live off of, not for you to go to casino or rent motels or whatever. Those funds should come out of your pocket, out of your own bank account. That's probably the #1 reason I see people fail. They can't manage their expenses. The next reason I see why people fail is that kind of goes back to the #1 reason. They're poor planners. They take this run that goes over here to, let's say you pick up Kansas City and you go 300 miles over here to maybe St. Louis or something. And then your next one's up in Chicago and it's going over to Baltimore. So that's a lot of deadheading if you don't have a tow car. Even if you have a tow car, it's a lot of deadheading, but I tend to do more deadheading than others because this car gets 36 miles to a gallon. Like I said, I'm going home. It will cost me less than $60 to get home in gas. I will be home tonight. So anyway, but if I had to fly, get Ubers and Lyfts, there ain't no telling how much it cost me to get home. But I have that option. That's why a tow car gives you the option to say, screw it, I'm going home. But y'all don't plan your trips, your legs of your trips. If you get that run from Kansas City to St. Louis, you need something from the St. Louis area going someplace else. That's right. You agree, don't you? Yeah. So, that's crazy. I see some people, they'll fly across country, they can't get a run back. I mean, they'll drive across country and then they'll fly all the way back, get something else. Meanwhile, someone in a tow car is driving 2 hours away, hooking up to another unit and keeps moving. I mean, if that works for you, fine. But if you're going under because of your expenses, well, you gotta find a way to limit those things. The next reason I see is some of y'all just refuse to put in the miles. We get paid by the miles. Some of y'all take 3 days to go 500 miles. 500 mile trip is a day trip. I see people all the time, well, I only made 300 miles a day because I stopped here and I stopped there. That's all well and fine, but this kind of leads to another thing, is people complaining about dispatchers having their favorites. Now, whether you're in trucking or Driveaway, whatever, dispatchers have their favorites for one reason, because most of them get paid on commission. They get their favorites because somebody will pick a load up when they say they're going to pick it up. They get it there safe and sound as quick as they can. It's a 500-mile trip, and I pick up noon today. I'll be sitting there in the morning getting unloaded. I ain't gonna spend 2 or 3 days trying to get to someplace. Okay, that's how dispatchers get favorites. They get people who are out here who are running, doing what they're not causing no more drama. They're not damaging equipment. They're not running out of their advances and bugging the dispatchers. Well, I'm out of money, but I still got 200 miles to go and I don't have no fuel. Well, we gave you a 60% advance. You done spend. Well, you know, that casino back there cheated me out of my money. Boys and girls, it's a business. You want to get on that most favorable list? Do what you say when you say you're going to do it. Get it there. If you notice one thing I didn't say caused you to go out of business, that's the company you work for. I've worked for some of the lowest paying companies out there. I've made money with those companies. Not a great deal. Didn't get filthy rich. But even with them, I made my money. Most of the companies are going to pay about the same. Within, you know, I wouldn't say probably, you know, quality's what? $1.15, $1.20 a mile now at the time of this, I think. I don't know. I hadn't been leased to them for over a year, so I don't know what the rates are, but that's what I'm hearing. Bennett, some of their best runs right now is this statement, $1.20 a mile. They're cheap. Now, when that fuel got up around $5 a mile, I mean $5 a gallon, that fuel surcharge they had was sweet. I made some money then. I mean, good money off that fuel surcharge. But now the fuel's back down, their fuel surcharge is down. So it's not so great. But even then, I can take a $1.20 a mile load and make money on it. So the company you're with isn't as important as some of y'all think it is. It's not the money you're making, it's the money you're keeping. And you do that by controlling your expenses. So, you know, again, some of y'all are going to say, well, what company do you work for? I stopped mentioning the companies I work for. I've said it in almost every video I make. I'll no longer tell you what companies I work for. You can go to driveawayguide.com. Again, that's driveawayguide.com. And there's a whole list of companies there with ratings that people who work for them have rated them. There's also another page where, for you-know-tow people, all you-know-tow people, there's a page there with the different cities and who will run you back and forth to the yard. I mean, like, you got people up here in Chicago who run you over to Elkhart. So, driveawayguide.com. Plenty of information there about no-tow, about towing. I have nothing to do with that website, but it's a good resource for driveway drivers. And this is probably almost as important as controlling your expenses. There are actually two I'm going to combine into one here. Because, you know, supposedly odd numbers like 5 get more attention. But really, a lot of y'all quit before you get this business dialed in. That's why I say you need money up front to live off of while you learn this business. Very few people will enter this business hitting home runs from day one. I've been doing this going on 3 years. couple hundred, probably 250 units. And I still take a dog every once in a while. No matter what you do, every once in a while, you're going to get a dog. But starting out, you're going to get more dogs than you do now. Or you should. If you're learning the units, learning which ones do very good. There's some people who love box trucks. I can't stand them. I hate medium duty trucks. Because usually they try to put a light duty engine in a medium duty truck and expect it to do a heavy duty job, and you end up with something that just doesn't want to run. Gets horrible gas mileage, something like that. I try to avoid box trucks, medium duty trucks at all costs. But some people love them and do well, but they know which ones do well. Some of y'all just look for a run that all you look at is the dollar amount. You don't look at it as a garbage truck that's going to get 5 miles to a gallon. Then you're going to get all bent out of shape when you don't make no money off of it. But once you've done this job long enough and you've taken a garbage truck or two, you know, or you listen to the people who tell you garbage trucks don't get fuel mileage worth crap, then you'll learn. Now, this previous year, I did fewer runs than I did my first year. Yet I made more money, and this is at a time of companies lowering their rates. I made more money last year than I did my first year, even though I took more runs that first year at higher rates. So what gives? I attribute it to knowing what I like to run and what gets the most fuel mileage. You know, I'm tempted every once in a while to take something like a mixer or something, but I know those do not get good fuel mileage. But man, some of them will go all the way across the country. I've seen some 2,000, 2,500 mile runs on those mixers. I'm sorry, I'd like to take them, but I'm just not going to do it. But some people will jump on there and then go, well, this mixer only got 6 miles a gallon. They won't give me no more money for fuel and I'm almost out. Well, okay. Yes, I've had to use my own money to get a truck to where it's supposed to go. That's my job, get that truck safely to the customer. And you know, this particular truck was a 58,000 pound crane truck. And there again, it had a quote unquote medium duty engine. It had a Cummins 5.7 or 6, whatever. Basically, same one they put in the buses. It should have never had that engine. The engine was too small for that truck. So that truck worked very hard, even though it was a 10-speed. It worked very hard going down the road, and it drank 5 to 5.5 miles a gallon. I made, when time I got done from Kansas City to Shreveport, Louisiana, I made less than $100 off that run. Guess how many more crane trucks I took out of Kansas City to Shreveport? That's right, goose egg, none. There were several more. I ain't touching them. I don't care where they go. I know the place they came from. I will not touch those things unless somebody's going to pay for the fuel other than myself. But that's what you get with time. If you're learning this business, you're learning which runs pay more, or which ones you profit more off of. You learn that if you run, I don't know, I don't do too much runs out of Chillicothe because I don't like going back east. I try to stay in the middle of the country. I know my lane's pretty damn good. I know the stops at. I know where I can get the cheapest fuel. I don't really run all over the country. Now come summer, I will be running west. I love running west. But I just won't take anything going west. So and like I said, some of y'all give up way too early before you learn this game and become efficient and make your money. I mean, I think the stats say most people will go out of business within their first 5 years. Okay, that's a brick and mortar business they're talking about. I say most people that go out of business Driveway will do it within the first year, because they just cannot learn what units they should be taking and what units they should be leaving. If y'all would leave these units that are getting 5.5 miles a gallon, 6 miles a gallon, whatever, these companies would pay more for them. Because a lot of these rates are based on the fuel mileage that these units get. I've seen the emails between the companies and the ones they're hauling for. I know what they base this on. Maybe not every company does, but most of them do. So, and some of y'all, you know, I've never taken a Class A motorhome. I have no inkling to take one. Some people say, well, they get 10 miles a gallon. Maybe they do. I don't know, but I'm not going to take one. I don't even like those things. Another thing I won't take any longer is anything with a gas engine. The last unit I took with a gas engine was a Ford 550. I think it's 550. Tree trimming truck. Y'all probably know what company it was for. It's pulling a shredder too. Chipper shredder, whatever. That chipper shredder wasn't that heavy. But that dog got 5.5 miles a gallon all the way up here to Chicago from Oklahoma. I knew better to take it than I did, but I was doing a no-tow run, and I thought it would get around 7 or 8, but it didn't. And that's with me doing 62, 63 mile an hour. Because it topped out at 65, and it was, the RPMs are really high at that rate. So, knowing what units to take, like that box truck right there, it might get 9 or 10, maybe. New. Not after it's worn out. Not after it's had a dozen drivers driving it like they stole it. New, you know, I take some Max out of Virginia. New ones. Cabin chassis, medium duty. Taking them Texas and Arkansas from Virginia. Maybe I'm lucky if I get 10 mile a gallon out of them. And that's on nice flat ground with a cruise set. But it takes time. It takes you taking some dogs to learn which of the dogs and which ones to leave